Hey everybody, Rosematter here. Welcome to part 3 of my Higurashi When They Cry Minagoroshi Let's Play. In the last episode, we discovered that it's not just Keiichi who is having these vague memories of the past timelines, but it's all of the people in the group that are causing them to make changes to their lives, whether minor or major, like Shion upholding her promise to Satoshi and taking care of Sadako, and Rena talking to her father about the money issues and, getting him to get a job and break up with Rena. Rena? It's Rena, right? I always forget that damn girl's name. So this is further proving that this may be the miracle that Rika is looking for. I'm hoping. We'll see. We have to wait and see. So we're going to continue on and see maybe what other changes there are in this timeline, and if it's going to be enough to save Rika. So without further ado, let's get back into the story. Sadako's snoring sounded so subtle while I stood by the window.
Satoko?
I could tell she was sound asleep.
いびきが可愛いのですよ。
Hanyuu laughs and tries to poke Sadako's nose. I looked up at the sky. Nothing was different about the moon, but the moonlight seemed warmer than usual to me.
リカは機嫌がいいようなのです。確かにそうかもしれない。
I realized it only after Hanyuu pointed it out. I really was in a very good mood. Otherwise, I wouldn't be enjoying the view of the sky on a humid night like this. I felt like bringing a toast to the moon. As I rooted around the back of the closet, Hanyuu spoke to me, sounding noticeably upset. Also makes sense why Rika drinks alcohol, considering that she's had so many timelines where it's like she feels older than she is, but she's still, a young body, but she's drinking alcohol.
リカ、お酒はダメなのですよ。いいじゃない、今夜くらい。
Hanyuu doesn't like alcohol. If I drink, Hanyuu will also taste it, so she always complains when I try to drink. That's why I usually drink only when Hanyuu is far away from me. Of course she'll know right away when I do, but it's too late by then.
ダメです、ダメです。リカにはワインは早いのです。リカは私よ。リカが飲みたいものはリカが決めるわ。ダメです。僕はワインが嫌いなのです。今日は喧嘩はなしだってば。わかったわ。じゃああんたにも飲みやすいように。それならいいでしょ。ワインのあの匂いが嫌いなのです。だからダメ。
Hanyuu jumped around and complained. She was making a lot of noise right where Sadako was sleeping.
やめなさい。さとこが起きちゃうでしょ。残念でしたなのです。僕はリカ以外には見えないし聞こえませんから、いくらトタンバタンしてもリカにしか聞こえないのです。あったんべー。はは。あんたはたまに身の程をわきまえないわね。
I went to the refrigerator and took out a pack of orange juice and the spicy kimchi I typically use for her punishment.
はい問題。私がおつまみに激辛キムチをいっぱい食べてオレンジジュースで割った甘いワインを飲んで一緒に月を楽しむのとどっちがいい？
Hanyuu clenched her lips while jumping up and down, ready to burst into tears. She should be disciplined for being that noisy, but she never has been since I'm the only one who can hear her. Besides, she's like air, so I can't even give her a spanking. Hanyuu loves sweets, but she really hates spicy food. Sadako woke up suddenly and I had to hide my glass in a hurry. Sadako doesn't know about my drinking habit.
今何時だと思ってるんですの。
She fell asleep again after speaking.
ほら、あんたのドタンバタンがうるさいって注意されたわよ。この安眠妨害。
Just like I'm the only one who can see her, I'm usually the only person who can hear the noise she makes. However, that's not the case all the time. Hanyuu does exist in this world. Sometimes people can actually hear and feel her existence. Oh, there's once again. I think I mentioned before about how maybe when people, they thought they felt a presence. It's Hanyuu. It doesn't happen too often, and most people think they just heard some random noise. Based on my experience, people who are in a critical condition like Sadako tend to hear her more often. Oh, I forgot again that Sadako was sick. When I say critical condition, I mean who've reached the L4 stage, as Irie would describe it. At that stage, there's nothing that can be done anymore. They will feel the existence and hear the noise of someone they can't see. That would really mess with their mind. Is that implying that anybody who felt Hanyuu's presence were in a critical condition as well? Hanyuu stopped jumping up and down and gave up as I started pouring alcohol into my glass. I wasn't drinking because I wanted to be mean to Hanyuu. In fact, I always wished she would enjoy it too. I poured only a little bit of wine inside the glass and diluted it with plenty of orange juice. In fact, this cocktail is pretty much just juice. I also put some crushed ice inside the glass. With that, it looked like a real cocktail they serve at the bar.
ほら、Hanyuu、これくらいの薄さなら平気でしょ。
I licked the edge of the glass to see how she'd react.
このくらいなら平気なのです。そう。じゃあ今夜はこの濃さにするわ。もう怖がらないで。辛いのはしまうわ。
Hanyuu has been scared of that kimchi punishment for a while. As I put it back inside the refrigerator, she seemed relieved. I took the glass and headed back to the window. There was no breeze, but it seemed a little bit cooler.
ねえ、Hanyuu、あなたも今回は何かが違うって感じてる？圭一やレナの話ですか？それから多分みんな過去の世界をごくわずかだけど記憶してる。そしてそれを生かして致命的な失敗を避けている。ここにはそう珍しいことではないと思いますです。でも圭一やレナ、シオンなどみんながみんな同時にそうなることは僕もとても珍しいことだと思いますのです。私はよく自分の運命をすごろくに例えるんだけど、これは3つ振ったサイコロがみんな6だったような、そう僕たちの望む未来に最も近い位置からのスタートという意味ではリカのその例えは正しいと思いますのです。でもこれはリカが期待するような意味の奇跡ではありませんですよ。
I knew what she was trying to say. She was telling me not to expect too much. The die is designed to have 6 sides. It's not a miracle if I roll it and get a 6. A true miracle is when I roll it once but get a 10, just like what happened with Keiichi in my previous life. In other words, a miracle is something that would normally never happen. Keiichi gave the doll to Mion. Rena spoke with her father, and Shion started taking care of Sadako after remembering her promise to Satoshi. That was all because they had those intentions somewhere in their hearts. It was only a side of their die that was engraved there already. But still, even if you couldn't call 3 dice rolling this well a miracle, it did mean good fortune.
リカが頑張ろうという強い意志を見せたので、天の神様が祝福しているのに違いないのです。あんたも神様じゃなかったの？
Okay, so they're saying she is one of the
リカは
gods.
僕をいじめる時だけ神様扱いしますです。冗談よ。お願いだからいじけないで。そんなわけだから。今夜はとても機嫌がいいのよ。
I lifted up the glass of orange wine and gave a toast to the moon. It tasted like nothing but sweet orange juice. It was funny to see Hanyuu making a happy face as I took a sip.
今度こそ昭和58年の死の運命から逃れられるのでしょうか。逃れることがゴールのすごろくなのだとしたら、これほど幸先のいいスタートはもう二度とないかもしれない。
No matter how hard I tried to prevent things from happening, there were some things I could never control. It's such a huge letdown when that happens. Even after trying so hard, something renders my efforts infertile. I'd probably be wasting my time for so long because I was trying to escape from that pain. For the first time in my life, then, I've been blessed with a favorable situation. Everything seems perfect in this world. There's no reason for me to be depressed. It's like the weather is perfect and the wind is blowing in just the right way. If I failed to put my ship out to sea, there was nothing to pin the blame on. I understood what Hanyuu was trying to say with that concerned look on her face. If I didn't escape my death under this fortunate situation, I'd have to accept my fate wasn't something that could be changed. This is an ideal world where all of my friends overcame their problems. I was always in a depressing world, but this time all the pieces of the puzzle matched. If I couldn't change my fate in this world, then it was proof I couldn't change it in any world. See, it'd be one thing if this was the last chapter, but it's not. There's a chapter after this, which makes me wonder how this is going to go down. That was the ending I've been afraid of for a long time. The loss of hope, and the death of my soul. Of the pair of us, I was probably the only one who would die. Hanyuu will most likely remain there even if my spirit disappears. She must be afraid of being alone after I lose myself. That's why she's telling me not to expect too much. I bit down on an ice chip inside my mouth. It was pleasantly cold.
羽生、何度も繰り返した話で申し訳ないんだけど、また付き合ってほしいの。いいのですよ。どうしてリカが必ず昭和58年に殺されるかですね。うん。強い意志は強い運命を生み出すということは、私が昭和58年に必ず殺されるのは、おそらくそうだと思いますです。フルでリカを殺して、誰がどんな得をするのかしら。
Interesting. So I wonder if the person who kills her each time... well, silly. I already know that, because we know from Shion's chapter that Rika ended up killing herself. So I wonder if they're going to go through all the chapters, because I want to know in each chapter who killed her and why.
強い意志があるのですから、おそらくは明白な動機があるものと思いますです。自分で言うのも嫌だけど、フルでリカは村人みんなに好かれていると思う。一般的な村人に殺害動機があるとは思えない。少なくともこの村に住まう人間である以上、リカに好意を抱かない人間はいないはずなのです。あんたのおかげでね。今のは感謝の言葉よ。まあいいわ。長いこと疑ってきた園崎本家も違った。となると、私を殺したい人間やむしろリカにとっては世界中のどこよりもこの村にいるのが安全なはずなのです。そうね。世界中のどこよりも私を殺そうとする人間がいるどころか、私を守ろうという人間がいるはずなのに。
It's ironic. For a long time I've been refusing help from all those people who were trying to keep me safe.
リカ、やはり入江たちを頼るのはどうですか？
People in this village love and cherish me. But no matter what, they never save me when I try to escape the fate of my death. I spoke to several villagers in the past, but they never believed me, and none of them saved me in the end. They probably didn't believe me because I had no idea who was trying to kill me or what their motive was. If I could explain that, people might be more accepting of my story. But there's nothing I can do about that. No one would believe a little girl saying she's going to be killed without rhyme or reason. All they think of me is as the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama and the leader of the Furde family. They do cherish me, but they won't protect me with their lives. Maybe this will be the chapter where now that all of her friends are, like, you know, being more about talking to your friends if you need help, maybe this will be the one where someone actually will do something. On the other hand, Irie and his people are totally different. They realize how special I am and they would try to make sure nothing happens to me. If I confessed to them my life was in danger, I'm sure they would do their best to prevent it. They have all the means to protect me from a violent end. However, none of it really worked in the past. It's not that they're unreliable. It's because Takano, the one responsible for protecting me, also gets killed on the same day every time. In other words, asking her for help is completely useless. She's very reliable, but she also isn't. It's ironic that I'm the only one who knows the reason why they can never save me.
それが狙いなのかしら。富武と高野を殺し、私を守る者を排除して、それから殺す。確かに高野たちの死はリカの死と密接に関係する先触れなのです。同じ運命なら、いや、同じ犯人が同じ目的でやっている犯行なら、あの二人の死をなんとか覆すことで、私の運命もまたリカは多分覚えていませんですが、ずいぶん前にもそう言って実行したことがありましたです。
The deaths of Takano and Tomitake mean the loss of my protection. Because if the two of them die, the suspect is able to kill me. That's why I've tried to prevent their deaths somehow. But they never believed me. I tried so hard to persuade them, but they didn't listen. I eventually gave up and just thought of their deaths as fated to happen. It's the same hopeless feeling I used to have towards my parents when I was able to go farther back in time. When I found out that death was inevitable, I lost interest in them. After all the time has passed, I forgot how hard I used to try to prevent my parents' deaths. So when they were doing the flashbacks to Rika talking to her mom, and she was so cold to her mother, and her mother hated her because of that, it was just because Rika was like, there's no point in getting attached to my mother because she's going to die anyway.
それにリカはイリエたちのことは嫌ってると思いましたです。まあね、連中は明らかに私たちをモルモットだと思ってるし。
I support them so I can help Sadako, but it disgusts me to think that they're only using me as a test subject. I've been resenting Irie for that reason. Still, I should try to get closer to him. After all, he's the only person who understands how important I am. He's the main person I should be talking to, and he has the most potential for protecting me. I can't avoid seeking help from him just because I don't like him. I've asked for him to help several times before, but Tomitake and Takano get murdered even so, and it ruins everything. After their deaths, Irie panics and becomes useless. That's why I gave up on seeking help from him. But in this world, I've been blessed with a positive situation. I will never have as lucky a start as this again. This is the best chance I'll ever get, so I should give it my best shot. I really don't like him at all. But he's not a bad person. I should respect him more. He's serious about helping Sadako, and he's not as much of a mad scientist as I'm inclined to think. Takano's a strange person too, but she's also someone who can give me support. Wouldn't it suck if it was Irie who killed her in almost every chapter and she didn't realize it? But she thinks I'm only her guinea pig. That's why I don't really want her to help. That's why I don't really want her help. Tomitake is more reliable than Takano, but the biggest problem is he only visits the village a few times a year. On top of that, he always dies before I get killed, so he can never help me. However, they really are the people I should be talking to. If I can change the fate of their deaths, they should be able to save me from my own. It's possible the only reason I lived until 1982 was because of their effort.
高野たちに接触して、彼らを救えるよう、また努力してみようと思うの。あ、大丈夫よ。どうせ殺されると思ってるから、変に期待してない。だから期待を裏切られても、全然平気よ。リカがひどいことを言ってますのです。
I chuckled at her comments.
もし死の運命から逃れられれば、私の運命に対して大きな影響を与えてくれるのは間違いない。そして今回は、それでも二人が殺されるのを前提に話をしてみようと思うの。つまり、二人が殺された後、私にも及ぶだろう危害への警護について、ちゃんとそういう指示を出してくれれば、 高野たちの死後も私の身辺は強固に警備されているかもしれない。
The protection they provide is probably the highest standard of security I could hope for. Yet I lose that the moment Tomitake and Takano die. So I never have their protection after Watanagashi. And therefore I get killed too. In other words, that's it. Whoever possesses the strong will to kill me actually just wants me dead. Yet so long as those two are alive, there's tight security all around Hinamizawa. That prevents the killer from getting to me. So to kill me, they must first kill Tomitake and Takano, the heart of that security. Then my protection falls away, leaving me exposed.
リズメで考えれば考えるほど、二人の運命と私の運命はつながっているのね。そうやって考えると、あの二人を見殺しにした時点で、私の運命は逃れられないものに決まってしまうのかもしれない。なら、リカのすべきことはもう明らかなのです。そうね、自分の命より先にあの二人の命を救う方が先決ってことね。
It's kind of ironic. I gave up on them because I was more determined to save my own life. But I finally came to the conclusion that I have to help them first before helping myself. But there's something I still don't understand. Someone with convictions this strong is trying to kill me for some equally strong motive. Yet no matter how often I debate it, I can't think of anyone who would benefit from my death. Not only that, but there should only be people who would want to protect me. Especially since they would do anything to protect me in the present environment. They even eliminated my mother. To be perfectly honest, I don't even care about her anymore. I never got along with her, and she's the one who took my father's death the wrong way, making a huge deal of it like she did. She got what she deserved. Damn, okay. I was saying before about how she was cold towards her mother because she knew her mother's fate, but no, I guess she just never really liked her. I'm a valuable guinea pig for them, and I can be a bomb, too. No one benefits from making me explode. There's only disaster awaiting them if that happens. Lots of people will be lost, and nobody will gain anything from that. According to Takano, my death would be like the eruption of a volcano in the middle of the village. I'm not interested in what happens after my death, but they're really concerned about it. They're watching me every day to ensure I don't actually accidentally hit my head on the corner of a block of tofu and die. It's fair to say they're here in order to prevent the eruption from happening. I'd be suspicious of them if they were going to benefit in some way from my death. But as everyone knows, that can't possibly be the case. My death would create nothing but a disaster. They're benefiting from my being alive right now.
損得の問題ではなく、何かの怨恨かもしれないとは、私個人じゃなくて、古出家に対する恨みみたいなものが、伝統的に御三家とかに残ってたりして、私が爆弾だと知らないからこそ殺したと。
That's why I was suspicious of the three families, especially the Sonozaki family. However, after observing them in numerous worlds, I feel that's not the case. I felt that way in several lives, but it always had something to do with that incident with Keiichi and the doll. It's clear there's nothing going on between the Sonozaki family and mine.
あとは、盲信的な何者かなのです。
If it's not about profit or a grudge, it might be someone who's secretly a deranged cultist. We've already had a series of murders 4 years in a row under the name of Oishiro-sama's curse. Timing-wise, it would be somewhat interesting if I, the reincarnation of Oishiro-sama, was killed on the 5th year. I couldn't stand to be murdered for such a whimsical reason, but such a motive actually seemed fitting. Ironically, I would have to suspect Takano if that's the case. She's well known for being an eccentric researcher of local histories. She's only interested in the village's history because she already knows who I am. She's doing the research based on the notion that I'm important. So she should have no reason to kill me. She would desire to keep me close to her as a research sample. It's hard to believe she would kill her favorite toy. She might be willing to kill someone who would try to harm her little toy, though.
まあ、いくら考えてもわからないし、誰かが私を必ず殺す。その事実から逃れられれば、他は とりあえずどうでもいいんだから。
No, I take that back. I want to escape my deadly fate, but I also want all my friends to be happy. And I want the rest of my life to be happy too. I don't want to hide myself in the forest forever just to get away from my murderer. In fact, I've tried that once before, but I still met with the same ending. Living in the forest was a horrible experience. I think I was able to survive until July that time. That might be the longest I ever lived. I smiled bitterly and finished off the rest of the orange wine in the glass. I'd have to talk to Irie again. I don't like him, but his people are my only hope.
もういい時間ね。床に戻らないと。明日が辛いわ。僕もそう思いますです。おやすみなさいなのですよ。
I lay down and closed my eyes, but I couldn't fall asleep right away. Suddenly, I remembered Rena's words out of nowhere. It was no good when I was thinking about it on my own. I wasn't thinking about it on my own. I was talking it out with Hanyuu. Oh, so she's gonna go see her friends like she should. It was like the irony where everybody else was learning this over their timelines, but Rika... I guess Rika did. She went to Keiichi a lot to talk to him about things. And nothing ever really changed. So it's like she's realizing, oh, I should talk to my friends about it too. Now I know, it's important to talk to other people. Friends have greater meaning than I thought. You can talk to them about anything. I finally realized that. After I asked Takano for help, should I also talk to Keiichi? I've told him before in my previous lives, but he never believed me then. The two of us. Rika Ferde always thought that there were 4 members in her family. She could clearly see all of us, her father, her mother, and me. She had no idea I was invisible to anyone else but her. My appearance is a little different from human beings. I may otherwise look like a person, but I can't hide my horns. So it's obvious I'm not human. I'd hoped that because Rika has seen me since she was a baby, she wouldn't be bothered by my ugly horns at all. I noticed the horns, but I was like hoping the game would explain that. And that hope came true. Just as chicks believe whatever they see first is their parent, Rika accepted me as part of her family as a matter of course. Even though I have these horns. Rika and I have been close ever since that day. She accepted me as her family member. I became closer to her than her parents. I couldn't even remember the last time I was able to communicate with someone. We spent all day together. But her family, especially her mother, denied my existence. Since her mother so strongly denied me, Rika and her mother became distant. Rika didn't learn certain things that many children learn from their mothers. Oh, and that's the mom being like, where did she learn these things? She probably learned it from Hanyuu. That's why I taught her instead. It's kind of ironic how that made her mother resent Rika even more. Oh my gosh, it's all coming together. Rika used to fight with her mother a lot about how she talked. I guess she picked up some bad habits from me. Besides the fact she didn't get along with her mother, Rika was a pretty normal girl. She was just like Sadako. She loved running around in the woods and doing mischievous things. However, in June 1983, Rika's life was taken. All we want is a happy life for Rika. My power only allows us to search for the path leading to that. It's awful to repeat the same tragedy over and over again. Although it's devastating, we can still find happiness within this endless world. Rika Ferde's destiny is a tragic dead end, but I'm secretly enjoying the fact I get to spend more time with her than what normal people can enjoy. It's not just Rika. They may not see or hear me, but being with Sadako, Mion, Rena, and Keiichi is also very fun. I can never be one of them, but I can still be by their side.
Yeah, リカちゃんが日曜日以外に診療所にいらっしゃるなんて珍しいですね。
高野とお話ししたいことがありますのです。今日はいますですか？
いえ、多分リサさんとデートじゃないでしょうか。いやいや、お羨ましい。
どうしてリサなのですか？ よくわからない名前なのです。
それは本人に聞いてみてください。
Okay, so there was the thing I heard the phone about Risa, and I didn't know who Risa was, so that's Tomatake?
初対面の時のちょっとした認識ミスなんですがね。その時の先方の対応がとても面白かったもので。
I don't get it. That's what nicknames are all about, though.
どんなご用件ですか？伝言でよければ今夜ミーティングがありますから、その席上で伝えておきますよ。
ありがとうなのです。でも直接言いますのでいいのですよ。
そうですか。わかりました。では私は書類事務に戻ります。
今日は入江は診察はしていないですか？
今夜のミーティングの資料作りで大忙しです。普段から準備はしているんですがね、日々の本業に圧迫されてなかなか時間が。なんて言うと準備がなってないと怒られてしまいますね。
それに加えて野球までやっているのですから、つくづく入江は元気だなと思いますです。
本当に忙しいですよ。家事や秘書を代行してくれる可愛いメイドさんを常時募集中なのですが、なかなか応募がありません。
Maybe when Rika says she has a bad feeling about Irie or she doesn't like him for some reason, maybe it's this. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's the same reason I have like a, I like Irie for the most part, but then he says weird things like that. I'm just like, just gotta shake your head. He laughed and looked at his he laughed and looked at his watch. He seemed to be in a hurry.
高野たちはどこへ行っているか想像はつきますですか？
村の中をいろいろと回るだろうと思います。ああ、でもいつも待ち合わせは神社の境内なんだそうですよ。高野さんは半ドンで帰られましたから、ひょっとするとまだ境内にいるかもしれませんね。
I looked at the clock on the wall. I must have just missed her. This was no time to be chatting with Irie.
ありがとうなのですよ。神社に戻ってみますです。
年に4度しかない仰せなんですから、あまり邪魔をしない方がいいと思いますよ。
He smiled mischievously and waved his hand in goodbye. Rika's like, how about I do it anyway? I headed back to the shrine. I was going to park my bike by the stairs that led to the shrine grounds. Sadako and I are the only people who park our bikes there normally, but I saw more than 10 bikes there today. People must be gathering at the convention room. There are more and more meetings when the Watanagashi festival draws closer. Seeing all these bikes reminded me that summer is nearly here. Most of the bikes were old and beat up. However, I saw 2 unfamiliar ones parked there. They were sporty mountain bikes with the same designs but different colors. They must belong to Takano and Tomatake, and then I'm just remembering about the bikes when Takano picked Keiichi up after he killed Sadako's uncle, and she had Tomatake's bike in her back seat, I think? I went up the stairs to look for the 2 of them, but I couldn't find either. Was there any place with a great view for taking pictures? I tried looking in places like that, but I still couldn't find them. So I started looking based on what Takano might be interested in. The warehouse. I could only think of one place.
どう？次郎さん。
うん。シンプルなタイプだと思うよ。
Oh, and this is... I'm trying to think. Chapter 2, was that when they broke open the lock?
道具があれば多分1分とかからない。
Yes, it was, because that was when... Well, technically Chapter 2 and I believe Chapter 5, because that was when she went in there... That was when Keiichi went in there with Shion.
さすがね。次郎さんが得意なのは心の奥の錠前外しだけじゃないのね。
So maybe Rika's like, if I stop them from opening that lock, that's gonna save them and maybe myself too.
たたりじゃー。
The 2 of them jumped in surprise as I suddenly appeared in front of them.
あら、リカちゃん、急に脅かすなんて人が悪いわね。
開かずの西宮殿の鍵を開けちゃおうとする人の方がもっと悪いのです。
あダメだよ、高野さん。やっぱり悪いことはするもんじゃないよ。
Tomitake conceded right away, but Takano was stubborn. She made up excuses to try and fool me. Based on my previous lives, I knew just how much interest she had in the storehouse. It was actually rather impressive how hard she tried to cover that up. The ritual storehouse is full of the remainder of the dark history of Onagafuchi. It contains bloody and vicious tools that Takano is fascinated with. She should have a good idea as to what those things are inside of the storehouse, based on what she's been researching. She was making up some story about cultural treasures and such, but it was obvious she was just making excuses. Tomitake also seemed impressed, listening to Takano's phony justifications. In the past, I've tried to conceal what was inside of the storehouse from Takano because I didn't want her spreading information about the holy and brutal traditions they used to have in Onagafuchi village. It would be a disgrace. As a member of the Furde family, I can't let that happen. Looking at the history of Onagafuchi in the way Takano does is a painful thing for Hanyuu as well. For Hanyuu, the ritual storehouse is a special place. I don't know what's so nice about being surrounded by those scary ritual tools. But she feels cozy when she's surrounded by the smell of old times. Oh, and then when they were in the storehouse or the warehouse or whatever you want to call it, and Keiichi and Shion heard like something moving around, that was probably Hanyuu. This storage is like Hanyuu's hideout. When I can't see her, she's usually relaxing in there, yep. I don't want Hanyuu's happy place to be turned into the bloody, horrifying den of evil Takano believes it to be. That's why I've been keeping Takano away from the ritual storehouse. Come to think of it, why am I so mean to her? Is it because I hate her? I should stop feeling that way. I have to keep in close contact with Takano and Tomitake. I won't give up just because it didn't work before. I'm going to try one more time. This world is different from the other ones. I might be able to change their fate, which in turn might change my own.
Hanyuu, Takanoに最具殿の中を見せてあげようと思うの。
Hanyuu made an irritated face. Takano will lose herself in ecstasy if she sees what's inside of there. She'll run around spreading rumors of the bloody history of Onagafuchi. Hanyuu wasn't too excited about that prospect.
高野にごまをするわけじゃない。でも、話を聞いてもらうきっかけにはなるんじゃないかと思うの。高野は根に持つから、ここで意地悪をすると、私の話をちゃんと聞いてくれないかもしれない。
I understand that Hanyuu doesn't want her inside this holy place, but she can't do anything more than be irritated about it. I'm the only one who can make the ultimate decision. Besides, she'll forgive me if I promise to eat something sweet later.
高野、もしも約束を守ってくれるのでしたら、中に入れてあげてもいいのですよ。
本当に？西宮殿の中よ。中は中でも防災倉庫の中とかはなしよ。
本当ですよ。ちゃんと西宮殿の中なのですよ。
西宮殿ってここよ。この建物の中なのよ。
別にごまかす気はありませんですよ。ちゃんとこの中に入れてあげますです。みぱー。
にぱー。
So cute. I had never seen such a big smile on her face before. Now this is a miracle. I'm seeing this face for the first time in 100 years. Tomitake must be feeling the same way. He's like, I can't make her as happy as a storehouse full of old bloody instruments. His image of Takano was slowly falling apart as we spoke, I'm sure. No, maybe he just found a new side of her to love instead.
高野って結構面白い人だったのでびっくりなのです。
I like to believe that, he does maybe appreciate this weird side of her. He already knows about it, because I'm like, my husband, I like to think that he finds my weird interest in, like, serial killers and dark stuff like that. He finds that kind of interesting, if anything. Or maybe he just says that so that he doesn't think I'm going to do anything bad to him.
やっぱりコミュニケーションって大事ね。人を知るのって つくづく難しいと思い知るわ。
We remained there and watched Takano spinning in delight for a while.
中には内緒で入れるのですから、他の人に見つかってはいけませんですよ。
ああ、そうだよね。高野さんを正気に戻しておくよ。
僕はその間に鍵を持ってきますです。
By the time I came back with the key, Takano was totally calm again. She was obviously trying to hide how gleeful she was, though. I thought she was a mature lady, but she still might be a kid at heart. I think they call that something like gap moe. I picked that term up at some point from Keiichi, but I'm still not sure how it's used.
では高野、富武、中に入る前にいくつか約束がありますです。ちゃんと誓ってくれないとダメなのです。
もちろんよ。開かずの細工殿を古出家当主が自ら開けてくれる金を犯すのだもの。約束は守るわ。
ダメだよ高野さん。ちゃんと真面目にやらなきゃ。
失礼ね。私はとても真面目よ。
僕の中の高野のイメージが今大変なことになっていますのです。私もよ。高野の株価が世界恐慌で大暴落って感じ。
Ren has said it before. It's not a good idea to think about problems all on your own. I always hated the crazy part of Takano and I didn't want to be close to her. But I never thought she could act this way. She was acting almost like Rena does when in her cute mode. Had I known that she was as funny a person as this, I wouldn't have felt resentment towards her. I realized how important communicating can be.
まず細工殿へ入ったことは内緒なのですよ。誰にも教えてはいけませんです。
もちろんよ。誓うわ。
Takano put her hands to her chest. She also forced Tomatake to do the same. It was funny to watch Tomatake trying to keep up with Takano, too.
中はとても大切な場所ですから、怪我したり傷つけたりしちゃダメなのです。
もちろん分かってるわ。それで撮影は可能なの？
可能ですが、1枚100円なのですよ。
二郎さん、あなた今いくら持ってるかしら
1万円払うとお得な1日取り放題券になりますです。
I love it. Rika, even on the sly, she's like, I might as well get some money out of this.
安い。払うわ。二郎さん。
They paid me the money for real. Hanyuu seemed excited knowing the money could be used for buying desserts.
高野はとてもいい人なのです。
Well, technically Tomatake is because he gave him the money.
あんたも現金ね。
I finally got approval from Oyashiro-sama, the master of the storehouse. We'd have no more problems now. The ritual storehouse is behind the building with the convention room, so when Hanyuu was, like, walking up behind them, I'm assuming that was her that was making that noise and standing behind them in the storehouses. That was her trying to chase them out because she didn't want them in there. Sometimes people come out for a cigarette break. I can't let anybody see us entering.
大丈夫。誰もいないよ。
Tomatake checked out the scene and gave me the signal to go ahead. I nodded at him and unlocked the door. I pushed open the heavy door just far enough for us to sneak inside.
富武が表で待っていると不審に思われますです。
え？僕も入るのかい？
He seemed surprised I was asking him to come inside with us. Tomatake, of course, wasn't particularly interested in what was inside the storehouse. I expected his surprised reaction.
二郎さん、リカちゃんが入れって言ってるのよ。早く入って。
ああ、わかったよ。
Tomatake squeezed inside as Takano urged him. I turned the light on and closed the door. Then I put the chain on from the inside. It's weird having this
厳重なのね。
music going while they're inside a warehouse full of, like, you know, torture devices.
錠前が外れていることに気づいた悪い猫さんが入ってくると困りますのです。
悪い猫さんで申し訳ないわね。
高野、猫は猫らしくニャーニャー鳴かないとダメなのですよ。ニパー。
それはどういうことかしら？
高野がちゃんと猫さんじゃないと見せてあげないのです。
Oh my god, now that Rika's found the cute side of Takano, she's like, I'm gonna exploit that?
ちゃんと鈴付き首輪と猫耳も持ってきましたですよ。これをつけて四つん這いになってニャーニャー言ってくれなかったら次の扉を開けてあげませんです。
The shrine storehouse has 2 doors so that people can't see inside when the first door is opened. At the moment, we were inside the entry chamber. The real storehouse is in the room beyond.
えリカちゃんもきついな。いくらなんでもそんなの。
Rika's like, get on your knees.
それが試練ならやるわ。これはリカちゃんが、私の知的探求心がどれだけ一途で高貴か試しているのよ。いいわ。あなたが望むなら猫耳と尻尾付きで四つん這いになって前足で顔を洗いながら、ご主人様大好きだにゃ
Oh boy.
だって言ってみせる。
Tomotake's like, I've discovered a new fetish all of a sudden.
高野ってみんなと同じくらいの年だったらきっと部活メンバーに混じっていたと思いますのです。
そうね。ほら、世界恐慌の時、ウォール街で紙切れになった株券が雪のように舞ったと言うじゃない。なんかそういう感じよ。高野の株。
さあさあ、リカちゃん。猫耳と首輪だけでいいの？
高野さん、そもそもこの扉鍵なんかないよ。ほら、押せば開く。
そうなの？あら嫌だ。私ったらみっともない。
ち、
Tomotage has no sense of humor. He just turned off a lot of viewers who were looking forward to seeing Takano in the cat outfit.
と冗談はこのくらいにして押せば開きますのです。ニパー。
Once we went through the door, we found ourselves inside the storage area. There were no windows in there, so it was completely dark, even during the day. There were several light bulbs hanging from the ceiling, but they were dim, and their light only exaggerated the darkness inside. Oishiro-sama's statue and the altar dominated the center of the room. They were surrounded by tons of ancient torture implements. They were all over the floor, walls, and ceiling. It looked like a torture room rather than just storage for tools intended for one.
これはすごいね。
Tomotage was rendered speechless. They were nothing like those fake torture implements that they might have seen in a wax museum or someplace like that. The tools in this room were the genuine articles. I never liked to think about it, but I'm sure some of them really were used. These authentic tools always have a big impact on the people who see them. But Tomotage was the only one who was shocked, since he was the only normal person in the room. Takano's eyes were sparkling. She was taking pictures while meowing like a cat. This place isn't special to me. Of course, I know I'm supposed to treat it as a holy place, but I'm so used to seeing all these things after coming here countless times since I was little. To me, it's nothing but a storehouse with a lot of old stuff inside. As for Hanyuu, she says it's the only place the air from times past lingers in this present day, so she actually finds it comforting. I get in a good mood when I come here, because Hanyuu gets in a good mood. This is a relaxing place for her. As I watch Tomotake's reaction, I notice how totally off my values are from normal people's. Takano's reaction seemed more natural to me in a sense. Hanyuu seemed to be bothered by Tomotake's reaction too. Maybe it was a bad idea to let him come inside after all. Not like I could kick him out at this point. Hanyuu and I sat on a cushion in front of the altar and watched Takano dance with childish glee while Tomitake made touching efforts to keep up.
どうしてこんなにもたくさんの拷問道具を作ったんだろうね。だって拷問というのは相手を屈服させるのが目的じゃないのかい？こんなにいくつもおびただしい数や種類がどうして必要だったんだろう。
二郎さん、拷問道具には2つの脅し方があるのを知ってるかしら？一つは使用して相手を痛めつけることで効果を発揮するもの。もう一つは使用するぞ、使用したらものすごい痛いぞと脅迫するためのものなの。そういう意味ではいろいろ物騒な拷問道具がたくさん取り揃えてある光景はそれだけで脅迫的意味を持つものだったのよ。
ね、確かに拷問というのは実は高度な技術が必要だというような話は聞いたことがあるよ。程よく痛めつけてかつ殺さないというのは確かに加減が難しいことかもしれないね。
Tomitake acted like he's having a conversation with Takano, but his voice was obviously unsteady.
西洋の拷問道具の中にはやたらと装飾型で実際に使用すれば痛めつける以前にあっさりと殺してしまいかねない、ある意味拷問道具としては構造欠陥のあるものが少なくないのよ。まあ拷問道具も厳密には屈服を目的とする被験者を対象にした純粋な拷問道具と見せしめや娯楽を目的とする観覧車を対象にした虐殺道具に分かれるんだけど、これを混同して誤解している人が多いのが嘆かわしいわね。
じゃあ昔の人たちは何を屈服させようとしていたんだい？
Tomitake asked me that. He must have thought that Takano would say something far more scary if he asked her. He's forgetting I'm just a little innocent girl.
私は鬼ヶ淵村の独自の戒律を厳重に守らせるためだったと思ってるんだけど、正解？
正解なのです。これらの細具は実際に使用するためでなく、むしろ展示して村人を怖がらせて戒律を遵守させることを主眼に置いたものだと言われてますです。だから実際にこれらの道具を使う時になってサイズが合わなかったり構造的に欠陥があったりで満足に使用できなかったという話も結構残っていますのです。
でも実際に使用することもあったんだろう？やっぱり穏便な話じゃないね。
戒律を守らないとお社様のたたりがあるだけではおとなしくルールに従ってくれない人たちもたまにはいたということなのです。
ねえリカちゃん、ではこれらの道具は基本的に村人を威圧するために用意されているのかしら？本当の意味での綿流しの時、食人の宴に使った調理解体道具だっていう説があるんだけど。
Hanyuu was making a frustrated face. She didn't want to remember the dark history of Onagafuchi village. People performed countless torture ceremonies in front of her, claiming that they were doing it in her name, the name of Oyashiro-sama. She asked them not to do that, but no one was able to hear or see her.
ノーコメントなのですよ、ニパー。
高野さんによく僕も聞かされるよ。大昔の鬼ヶ淵村の人たちは神様のお告げがあると麓に降りて人をさらって食べてしまったんだろう。どうしてそんなことをしたんだろう。これもまた麓の人々に対する何かの見せしめなのかい？
私はそこはおそらく食物連鎖で人間よりも優位にあることを自覚するためにやった一種の儀式だと思っているわ。鬼ヶ淵村が外部との交流を禁ずる最大の建前が 自分たちは仙人で村は聖地。汚らわしい人間と交流すると汚れを持ち込む、そういうふうに言われてた。だから定期的に自分たちは人間以上の存在であることを自覚し直す必要があったんじゃないかしら。
日本にも晒し首があったしね。見せしめは非人道的ではあるけど、抑止効果は極めて大だったというわけだ。
So his thought is bringing me back to when Rika, in that one chapter where she was splayed out in the shrine. I mean, I think her body was hidden, so it's not like they had her on display, but like her, basically her insides were opened up. I want to know what that was about. Who did that and why?
見せしめの犠牲者がひどい方法で拷問されて絶命する。そんなのを見せつけられたら絶対に自分はああされたくないって誰もが思うわよね。日本には晒し首だけでなく貼り付けだってあったでしょ。処刑場に高々と死刑囚を貼り付けにして観衆の前で恥ずかしめられながら長槍でブスブスと刺されるのよ。二郎さんもわかると思うけど、槍でほんの一月二月された程度じゃ人は絶命なんてできない。腹部や胸部を貫かれればそれは十分に致死的なことではあるけれど、ギロチンなんかのようにきれいさっぱり死ねるわけじゃないのよ。
It's just like it makes... I know it's not possible because Takano died the night of Watanagashi, but I'm just like, the way that she talks plus the fact that she's a nurse and she has, experience with the human body would make me think that maybe she did that to Rika for some reason. But I'm just like, but the timeline, that doesn't really make sense.
血がブクブクと溢れ出し、腹からは腸を引きずり出されて肺に血がたまり、最後には自らの血で溺れ死ぬ。そんな緩慢な死を思えばギロチンなんて人道的な発明よね。そうそう、知ってる？ギロチンってね、貴族のために生み出されたんですってよ。
Takano is like, she's basically like a pop-up video, kind of like just facts popping up, but instead it's about torture and death. And I appreciate that.
銃殺や絞首刑よりももっともっときれいにあっさりすっぱりと死ねるように生み出した死の際まで特別扱いしてもらえる貴族のための処刑道具。フランス革命末期の恋愛を描いたなんとか物語っていう白黒映画があるんだけど、ラストのギロチンシーンは圧巻よ。観衆の嘲笑を浴びながら数珠つなぎの貴族たちが一列に並ばされて次々と一台のギロチンで処刑されていくの。ちょん、はい次ちょん、はい次ちょん。人間の死がわずか一瞬でベルトコンベヤーの上の工場生産のように量産されていく。神父のお祈りも最後に言い残す言葉も何もなしよ。ちょん、はい次ちょん。もうそんな一瞬の死じゃ見せ物にならないからね。誰も個人の死に感情を抱かない。観衆は一人の死を見てるんじゃなくて、何十人もの貴族が長ネギをスライサーで削っていくみたいに手際よくちょんちょんちょんと跳ねていく。そのちょんちょんの連続性をショーとして面白がるわけ。それに比べたら一人の人間をじっくりいじめ殺す方がよっぽど個人を尊重しているとは思わない？
Takano, once again, you're making me think maybe it's you somehow. She was cute for all of a couple of minutes and now she's just back to her normal self again.
そんな濃密な死と拷問で飾り立てられたのがこのお社様という存在なわけ。
Takano raises her hand to honor the statue of Oyashiro-sama.
お社様という存在は結局人間が生み出した偶像なの。その偶像は恐怖で祭り上げられることで神聖化した。そう、人が法則や戒律で石垣を組み上げ、呪いやたたり、奇跡や恐怖の漆喰でそれを固める。それらを積み上げて積み上げて、雲の上にまで届く高みを作り、その上に立てられるのが神という存在なの。神は人が欲するゆえに人が生んだ人の手による存在。つまり人が人を恐怖で支配しようと思った時に生まれる純粋な恐怖と血と拷問の結晶。それがここではお社様という存在になるのよ。つまり神の世界へ至る階段は神ではなく人の手で作られていたことの証左であり、私たち人間をさらなる高みへ誘う指針を示して。
Oh, Hanyuu. Her passionate lecture was interrupted by a loud noise. As I looked back, Hanyuu was jumping up and down with her eyes full of tears. Thud. Thud. Yeah, that verifies that that was definitely Hanyuu that they felt in here. Thud. She was stomping the floor as hard as she could, making a loud noise instead of screaming out with her unheard voice. However, it all amounted to the same thing. Hanyuu cannot be heard by people.
違うのです。違うのです。僕はそんなのじゃないのです。
羽生。
僕は人が死んだりとかいじめられたりとか、そんなのは嫌なのです。みんなで一緒に仲良く楽しく暮らしてくれればいいのです。もちろん僕たちが悪いところもいっぱいありますです。でもそんなのを望んだことなんて一度もないのです。
羽生は羽生よ。お社様なんてあなたとは関係のないことでしょう。
違うのです。違うのです。高野は嫌いです。嫌いなのです。いつも僕のことをひどく言いますのです。ひどく言いますのです。言いますのです。
Was it a bad idea for me to bring Takano in here? I knew Takano would get overstimulated and say something like this. Fortunately, Hanyu's rejection indirectly reached Takano, and she stopped lecturing. Somehow, Tomotage had heard the noise that Hanyuu made. He pressed his finger in front of his lips and told Takano to be quiet.
何事なの？
さっき子供が遠くで飛び跳ねるような音が聞こえたんだよ。この建物の周りで子供が遊んでいるのかもしれない。
そう？私には何の気配も感じないけれど。
いや、確かに聞こえたよ。
I wonder if there's a reason why he heard it but she didn't. Because I don't think she ever heard it in any of the times that they came into the warehouse.
高野さん、ここへはお忍びで入れてもらってるんだ。リカちゃんの立場にも配慮して、もう少し静かに見学しないと悪いよ。
Takano seemed disappointed, but Tomotage was right. She had no choice but to be quiet.
富竹、周りに子供なんていませんですよ。
そうかい？リカちゃんには聞こえなかったかい？
But then Rika said the whole thing about like people who hear Hanyuu, it's because they're in like critical condition or something. So maybe there's a reason why he heard it and she didn't?
僕は確かに飛び跳ねるような音を聞いたんだけどな。
And then Keiichi and Shion heard it as well.
もちろん僕も聞きましたですよ。遠くではなく僕のすぐ後ろでドタンドタン跳ねていましたです。富竹には遠くに聞こえたでしょうが、僕にはすぐ後ろだったのでうるさいくらいでしたですよ。
I was standing in front of the altar and the statue of Oyashiro-sama was right behind me. Tomitake seemed freaked out after hearing what I just told him. Although he was trying to fake a smile, his face was turning pale. However, Takano didn't seem scared at all.
高野、西宮殿の中でお社様を怒らせるようなことを言うのは禁止なのです。お社様がとても怒っていますのです。その声が聞こえませんか？
It's fortunate that she can't, to be honest. Even if she heard it, it would be nothing but tears. My job as a shrine maiden to begin with is to tell humans what Oyashiro-sama is feeling. I'm responsible for speaking on Hanyuu's behalf. Takano must have realized that I was very serious about what I just said. She apologized to me right away.
ごめんなさい。いささか調子に乗りすぎたわ。お社様もごめんなさい。人が崇めればそれは神。たとえ私が崇めなくても神聖は侵されない。面白半分に冒涜したことを謝るわ。
お社様は甘いものが大好きなのです。僕を経由してお供えしないとたたりがありますですよ。
Tomitake couldn't help but smile. Takano also smiled. She bowed to me, promising to bring over some cream puffs soon. Takano finally stopped saying bad things about Oyashiro-sama. She also promised to bring me something sweet. Hanyuu was still upset, but she was probably satisfied for the moment. But I didn't know what she meant by the 3 fingers she was showing to me. Was she telling me to ask Takano for that too? Being her shrine maiden is not an easy thing.
お社様はシュークリームは最低でも3つ欲しいと言ってますですよ。僕が食べたいわけではないので誤解しないでほしいのです。
It's funny because it's like you think that is Rika just wanting cream puffs, but she's not wrong when she says it's not me asking. They took it as a joke I made to reduce the tension. Tomitake and Takano cracked up, holding their stomachs. Hanyuu was looking at them with surprise, not knowing why they were laughing. My face, meanwhile, was turning red with embarrassment.
わかったわ。お社様のために美味しいシュークリームを3つ買ってくるわね。リカちゃんやさとこちゃんの分もいくつか買った方がいいのかしら？
いえ、僕の分はいいのです。その代わり、どうしても聞いてもらいたい話がありますのです。
何かしら？今日は西宮殿に入れてもらえるというわがままを聞いてもらえたんだから、それに見合うわがままには
Oh, is this when she's gonna tell her about the thing like you're gonna die?
僕が今から話すことを絶対に信じてほしいのです。どうしてとか、そんなバカなとかはなしなのです。だから絶対に信じて運命に打ち勝って私を助けてほしいのです。
Both of them are surprised to see such a serious look on my face. I was sure they'd be surprised. After all, I was about to explain to them that they were going to die in 2 days. I'm sure they'd want to deny that, but I knew a fair bit about their deaths. If I could explain to them in detail, they wouldn't be able to laugh it off. I'd talked to them about it several times in previous lives, but they never took it seriously. I only had that slight possibility that they might believe me. Hopefully, the possibility is as small as a miracle. It should be engraved on the side of a die. My friends overcame their fates, and they all rolled a 6. Should I call that a miracle? Please, God, let me roll a 6 again. Please let them believe that death is upon them. Irie turned the light on as soon as he finished his presentation. There were about 8 men wearing lab coats inside the meeting room. The man sitting at the far end was the only person without one. Upon seeing Irie finish his speech, he clapped his hands several times. Having noticed his applause, the other men in the room soon followed suit.
それはよかった。
Oh my gosh, that's... What? Tomitake.
本当によかった。
That suit does not look good on you, my dude. That looks way too big and boxy. It looks like they just literally like photoshopped something over his regular clothes.
この度の成果は個人的にもとても満足できるところ
I'm
です。
so confused, so he's not just a photographer. What?
入江先生の献身的努力の賜物ですわ。
いえいえ、優秀なスタッフの協力があればこそです。すべてのスタッフに感謝します。
これで完全治療のめどが立ったと言えるでしょう。
So he's part of this too. Is that why he's targeted as well?
まだいくつかの詰めは残っておりますが、それは時間と予算が解決する問題です。
So the people who were working on this cure usually end up dead. Like Irie, we know for sure has died a couple of times, and Tomitake and Takano guaranteed every time.
それにつきましては、よろしくお願いいたします。しかるべき人員と予算があれば、おそらく3年以内。61年度までには完全な医療体制を確立できると思います。今後の課題は、専門知識のない医療機関でも容易に対応できるパッケージ的な治療方法の確立と、より安価で簡易な検査法の確立です。
検査法に関しては、現在入江先生が血液採取から潜在患者を発見する方法を研究中です。この方法が確立すれば、一般的な健康診断と併用できますので、相当の低コスト化を実現できると思われます。
それは素晴らしい。現在の検査法はだいぶ大掛かりで高コストですからね。いや、コストにまでお気遣いいただき本当に感謝します。国民の健康はすなわち国益のはず。それに予算問題を出すのは本当に情けないことなのですが、削れるなら1円でも安くというのが当方の立場なのです。
もちろん理解しています。治療法は確立したが、コスト的に不可能では絵に描いた餅ですから。机上の空論でなく、実行可能な方法で考えるのも我々の仕事です。
Tomitake started clapping again, and everyone followed him.
あなたは医師として優秀なだけでなく、
Like he looks almost
本当に尊
military.
敬できる人格者です。あなたとお会いできたことを誇りに思います。
いえ、本当に拍手をいただくのは、すべての方を治療できて、
Okay.
いわゆるお社様のたたりを完全に撲滅できた時です。
Okay, so this is a thing about treating. Okay, so maybe Rena wasn't that far off when she was talking about a lab, and you know, this whole thing about this curse and this virus. But it seems like they're trying to make a cure for it. I'm so confused.
それまでどうか連帯して頑張っていけたらと思っております。
So Rena wasn't wrong completely, it seems like, about there being some sort of virus that causes some sort of reaction to people in the village.
こちらこそ、私も入江所長の要求する予算が限りなく額面通りになるよう努力します。どうか引き続きよろしくお願いいたします。
Tomitake and Irie shook hands, and the meeting room was filled with applause yet again.
では、今夜のミーティングはこれまでといたしましょう。明日は皆さんもお待ちかねのメインイベント、予算ヒアリングです。
And there must be a reason when she's talking about main event and they just happen to get killed, you know, around that time, like Takano and Tomitake. Why them?
各自奮闘しましょう。
Because it seems like somebody doesn't want them to find this cure. Takano was being sarcastic, of course. The staff members in lab coats were smiling bitterly.
いや、必要な予算なら私も最大限配慮します。私は本当は皆さんの味方になってあげたいくらいなんですよ。ですが、上に説明するのも直接怒られるのも僕ですのでね。申し訳ございませんが、しぶしぶ厳格に審査させていただきます。どうかご協力をよろしくお願いいたします。
それが富武さんのお仕事ですから、やむを得ません。どうか明日は。では、本日はこれで解散といたします。
Once Irie declared the meeting over, his white-coated staff gathered up their documents and left after glancing at the clock. It was almost midnight. The staff who were off tomorrow might be all right, but those scheduled to work needed to sleep sooner. It would hinder them the next day. Takano gathered up the butts from the ashtray as well as the empty coffee cans.
あら、コーヒーを飲まない人もいるのね。せっかく会議用に認めさせたコーヒー代なんだから、ちゃんと飲んでくれないとこの分まで予算が切られちゃうのかしら。
ひどいな。僕も仕事でいやいややってるんだよ。
ああ、高野さん。そのコーヒー1本もらえます。
じゃあ僕ももらいます。すべて飲み切った方が予算請求には都合がいいでしょうから。
The two of them seemed more relaxed with the other staff members gone. Tomontaki and Irie loosened their collars in a sign of relief.
リカちゃんとサトコちゃんたちはお元気ですか？先週聞いた話では、サトコちゃんの検査結果が一時期良くなかったように聞きましたが。
あれは取り越し苦労のようでした。急に暑くなりましたからね。体がびっくりしてしまったんでしょう。最新の検査結果では非常に安定した状態に戻っています。
入江先生はさとこちゃんには特に熱心ですからね。
That's one way to put it, I guess.
そんなことはありませんよ。医師たるもの、すべての病める者には公平に全力を尽くします。
I'm still curious about why he's so... I guess, like, yeah, there is some weird thing with Irie and Sadako where he's especially, like, towards her. He's got, like, almost this weird obsession with her.
そして私に感謝して、メイドさんになってくれればなお素晴らしいのですが。
Other than that.
いやはや、なかなかそうはなりませんね。
サトコちゃんを完全に治療できる方法があれば、本当に素晴らしいのですが、それは、やはり難しそうですか？
サトコちゃんのように一度でもレベル5に至った場合、幻覚症状の再現、いわゆるフラッシュバックに近い現象が起こりやすくなります。これは厳密には病気によるものではなく、精神の中に育まれる正常な防衛反応なんです。厚物に懲りてナマスを吹くということわざにもあるように、過去の経験を積極的に生かそうとする正常な反応なんです。
Oh, well, I mean, that's definitely happening. The brain uses past experience proactively for survival.
つまり一言で言えば心的外傷のことよ。しかも前頭葉に直接ダメージを受けていることが考えられるので、一般的な心的外傷よりもずっと繊細なカウンセリングと長期の投薬が必要でしょう。
病気は治療できても心の傷は治せないということかい？
心的外傷に苦しむ人は社会にも大勢いる。その中の一人に混じれるだけでも、かつてのさとこちゃんの症状を思えば奇跡的な回復なんだしね。
糖尿病などと同じに考えてください。不治の病ではあっても症状を抑えて元気に生活されている方も大勢います。
さとこちゃんは今でも日に3度の注射を？
いえ、だいぶ調子が落ち着いてきましたので、今3度に比べればだいぶ負担は軽くなったと思います。
最初はだいぶ嫌がったんだけどね。リカちゃんがうまくごまかしてくれてるみたいよ。
ごまかして？
さとこちゃんは生活資金の援助を受ける代償として私の研究に協力してもらっているということになっています。
では日に2度の注射は自分の病気のためでなく、入江先生の研究の協力のためにやっているつもりなんですか？
次郎さん、さとこちゃんに自分がどういう病気にかかっているのかを説明することは前に話さなかったかしら？
ああ、いや、思い出したよ。無神経なことを言って申し訳ない。
富武さんもどこかでさとこちゃんに会ったら優しくしてあげてください。
そうですね。わかりました。
リカちゃんは本当に強い人ですね。さとこちゃんと同じような境遇のはずなのに、あれだけしっかりと生活できるんですから。
すべてリカちゃんとお亡くなりになられたご両親のおかげですね。
What?
多大なる理解と協力がなければ、これだけの短期間では
Oh,
治療の糸口は見つけられなかったでしょう。
人道的でない実験にもよく
Inhuman.
耐えてくれました。
Or inhumane. I mean, both are not good, but somehow inhuman sounds worse than inhumane.
ご両親の死をも乗り越えてくれた彼女の協力なくして今日の成果はありえません。
This is interesting.
なんとかその恩に報いてあげたいものです。
そうですね。東京もリカちゃんとさとこちゃんが最大の功労者であることは理解しています。必ずや二人の協力に見合う感謝を示すでしょう。
あらあら、私たちにはコーヒーフィルター代まで渋るのに。
だからそれをいじめないでほしいな。昨年の話は高野さんに根を持たれっぱなしだよ。
でも私たち大人は彼女たちの協力に結局お金でしか報いれないのね。心で報いる方法があればいいのに。
Takano muttered like she was talking to herself, but it almost sounded as if she was talking to them.
きっと心で報いる方法は日常の中にたくさんあります。それらを一つ一つ積み重ねていくことでいろいろな形でお返しができると思います。
入江先生いえ、監督は日々そうしておられるようですわね。私もあの子たちに何か親切でもするようにしてあげないと。
そうだよ。高野さんはそれでなくとも今日大きな恩をリカちゃんに受けたじゃないか。
So they're like, doing all this after, I'm assuming, hearing what Rika told them about how they're about to die in 2 days, and they just have to play it off like that's totally normal and not act weird in front of Irie and the others.
いけない。明日の朝一でフィルムを現像に出さないと。本当に貴重な体験だったわ。歴史、文化、その息吹。
Oh, careful.
本当に素晴らしい時間だったわ。
Rika said not to say anything in front of people. Irie wondered what she could have experienced during the day. Toмотaki could only smile and act like he didn't know anything.
そうだ、高野さん。今日の最後にされたリカちゃんのあのお願いだけど。
Guys, maybe not have this conversation in front of Irie?
被害妄想だと思いたいけれど、本人だって明確な証拠は示せないって言ったわけだし。
何かあったんですか？話だけを聞いているとリカちゃんに良くない兆候が出たように聞こえますが。
先週のリカちゃんの検査結果、私は極めて安定した良好な結果だったと思っているのですが、入江先生から見て。
いいえ、今回もとても安定した結果でしたよ。さとこちゃんの検査結果が日本海の荒波だと例えるなら、リカちゃんは琵琶湖の水面のような感じです。二人の気象、その
急性発症の可能性は？
一体何事ですか？まさかリカちゃんに症状の進行が見られるというのですか？
実は今日、彼女から私たちに依頼があったんですわ。自分の命が狙われているように思うので、身辺警護の強化を依頼したいと。
Okay, so, I mean, once again, I had a feeling that that's what this curse is this increased paranoia in people. And that's the symptom.
そんなバカな。一体誰が彼女の命を狙おうなどと言うんですか？考えられない。
リカちゃんは村中から愛されてるマスコットで、殺したいほど憎む人がいるなんて聞いたこともない。僕も正直眉唾だとは思っています。
リカちゃんは自分の命が脅かされている根拠を何だと言っていますか？追跡妄想や被害妄想の類だとしたら、 確かにレベル5の初期症状と言えなくもありませんね。
夢で見たと。そういう悪夢にうなされてとても怖い思いをしたので、落ち着くまで身辺護衛を頼みたいと言うんです。
あのくらいの年の子なら夢見が悪くて怖くなってしまうこともたまにはあるかもしれない。でも僕たちの立場上、それが単なる悪夢なのか初期症状なのかは慎重に判断する必要があるだろうね。
わかりました。明日彼女には緊急検査を実施しましょう。問題がないことを祈ります。今のこの村で彼女より大切な人間は存在しないのですから。
So I guess that explains the white, the white van and stuff. Like when Keiichi was showing the paranoia, they know, Irie knew that this was an actual symptom of some sort of disease, and that's why he, I guess Mion and Rena must know about this too, because they were talking about like, where we called Coach, he's on the way, he's gonna, help you out, so they must know that something's up with this too.
何も問題がなければいいんだけどね。でももしそうだったとしたらどうしようね。
次郎さん、リカちゃんはあれだけのものを私たちに見せてくれて、その見返りがあのお願いなのだとしたら、とてもささやかなものだとは思わない？
It's nice to see at least someone believes in Rika a little bit.
身辺に不安を感じるという訴えをしてくれたんだから、私たちはそれに応えてこそ信頼関係だと思うの。これがお金でなく心で報いるということじゃないのかしら。
そうですね。仮に訴えが彼女の言うように夢見のせいだったとしても、それに応えなければ私たちはある意味幸運ではありませんか。彼女に恩返しをする方法が一つ見つかったわけですからね。
確かにおっしゃる通りです。それに彼女の訴えは私たちが当初から保証しているはずの権利でもあります。
それでなくても私たちは彼女の安全を徹底的に守らなければならない。
その通りです。それについては私ではなく皆さんの仕事ですね。どうかよろしくお願いいたします。
わかりました。では高野さんの権限内でお願いします。東京から番犬を派遣するレベルでもないでしょう。
フルでリカが夢にうなされたので派遣をお願いしますなんて言えませんものね。了解しました。
They mentioned that before, right? The bloodhounds from Tokyo? That sounds familiar.
山犬に最低4名の24時間警護を命じます。
Mountain dogs. There's all these like secret organizations that are just like, okay.
それはすごいな。私が上京する時の警護より厳重です。
だってリカちゃんにはそれだけの恩を受けちゃったんですもの。そりゃもうすごい警護をつけるわよ。リカちゃんの暗殺を企むような奴らは絶対阻止。
Well, it's like Rika said, it's like Takano might hurt anybody who tries to hurt me because I'm her little toy.
山犬の再生鋭を護衛につけるわ。たとえ相手が超永久スナイパーでも守りきってみせるわよ。にゃーにゃー。鬼ヶ淵村の神秘万歳。
高野さん、何かいいことでもあったんですか？
いや、その
After looking through the items that had been donated for the auction, we had realized there was nothing kids would be interested in. Keiichi insisted that the show wouldn't be a success unless there was something that kids would beg their parents to buy. He's probably right. For that reason, we went to the toy store again today. We were trying to get the owner to donate something that would interest all the kids attending the festival.
なるほどね。うちも先日のみんなのおかげで売れ残りをじゃなくていろいろとゲームを売ることができたからね。協力したいのは山々なんだけど。
番
バッチャは叩き売りオークションが大人も子供も楽しめるイベントになることを大いに期待しております。ダメかな、吉郎おじさん。
本家の大ババ様に期待されちゃあな。わかったよ、なんとか協力するよ。断ると大晦日にどんな嫌味を言われるか怖いや。
すげえな。ミオンとこのばあさんって本当に偉いんだな。
私は会ったことありませんけど、怖い人らしいんですのよ。シオンさんが言うには、趣味は人の生爪を剥がすことなんだとか。それはしーちゃんが脅かしただけだよ。
Oh, if only you knew.
レナはみーちゃんのおばあちゃんをよく知ってるよ。とっても優しい人なんだよ。礼儀正しくしてれば。
I'm impressed that she can refer to that monster as a nice lady.
礼儀正しくないと怖いのです。
I was like, are we Shion right now? The way that she said that monster.
あと、敬語の使い方が間違ってる人にも怖い
I'm
の
sure
ですよ。
she wouldn't call her a monster. Shion would call her an old hag.
みぱー。それは私には優しくないという意味ではございませんの？
ゲイちゃん、話ついたよ。気前よく教室してくれるってさ。
His laugh was a painful one.
どうして村人はミオンの言うことを聞きますのですか？
そりゃ園崎本家の意向に決まってるじゃない。ミオンはその園崎本家のお姫様だもの。誰も逆らえないわね。
リカもフルデ本家のお姫様なのですよ。
ありがとう。
The members of Sonozaki branch families who own businesses usually get their funding from Mion's family. They can never go against the will of the main branch. The Sonozaki family made a fortune on the black market after the war, and they've invested those funds as capital into businesses run by their family and the villagers. They charge almost no interest and require no cosigners or collateral. So long as one gives a proper explanation, they'll provide a notable sum. The money has to be paid back, of course, but it's lent between family and community. They're willing to make some adjustments if one goes begging. For that reason, everyone is borrowing money from the family. And that, more than anything, is why they can never refuse a request from Mion.
よーし、じゃあみんな手分けしてこれはと思うものを探してくれ。探し方のコツとしては、できれば大きいものの方がいいな。例えばトランプを一箱叩き売りしたって迫力がないだろ。
It's too bad that, the toy store doesn't have that big bear that Sadako's brother bought.
でかいものの方が迫力があっていいもんな。
つまり大きくて高いものを狙い撃ちなのです。
Well, now I'm trying to think. Wait, he never went to pick up the bear. I can't remember if he actually picked up the bear or not. Because I'm like, big and expensive. That sounds like that bear.
任せなさいませ。そういうのなら大得意ですわよ。みんなお店のおじさんの顔色を見ながら選ぼうね。うわ
ー、レナ見て見て、このぬいぐるみかわいいかわいい。
かわいいかわいい。全部お持ち帰り。
みんな少しは加減してね。
The shop owner smiled bitterly at us.
ケイチくん、これは何だろう。ブランコって書いてあるよ。ブランコって公園のブランコ？うわ、重たい。
ああ、組み立て式のブランコだろ。庭や室内に置いて遊べるはずだ。公園のブランコのようなダイナミックな遊び方はできないけどな。小さい子が遊ぶには十分だよ。まあ最初のうちは面白いんだけどな。そのうち飽きて使わなくなると洗濯物を干すのにちょうどよくなるんだよ、これが。
やたら例えがリアルなのです。圭一は持ってましたのですか？
前の家でな、小さい頃のクリスマスのプレゼントに買ってもらったことがある。何しろパッと見の迫力があるしな。いいチョイスだぞレナ。
はい、ケイちゃん、これを貼っといて。後で町会の人に取りに来てもらうから。
Mion handed Keiichi a piece of paper that said Town Council on it. She was carrying around a whole stack of them. She's really thorough when it comes to things like that.
圭一さん、これなんかいかがですの？家庭用プールでしたよ。
ほう、それもなかなかいいチョイスだな。ミオ、こいつも押さえとかないか？
ひなみ沢じゃ水遊びがしたければ沢へ行けばいいからね。微妙じゃないかな。
でも金魚さんのプリントがなんだか可愛らしいね。レナはこのプールあってもいいと思うかな私もあっていいと思いますわ。これだけたくさんの水が貯められればいろんなトラップに応用が効きますのよ。
ダメだダメだ、却下だ。その威力を味わうのはどうせ俺に違いない。却下却下。
ならこれはどうなのですか？ゾウさんの滑り台なのですよ。みー、これは僕も面白そうだと思いますのです。僕もお持ち帰りしたいのですよ。
聡子が滑ろうとした瞬間に上からドンと押すと、ああ、想像しただけで楽しくなってきた。羽生もそんな聡子を見たいでしょ。
リカは聡子に意地悪して遊ぼうとしてますのです。それもいいね。お持ち帰り。
はいはい、売約済み売約済みっと。
We enjoyed the privilege of picking donations for a while. I started to feel bad seeing the owner's troubled expression. I patted him on the head to try and comfort him. For a second I thought I was Keiichi, and the idea of Keiichi rubbing the uncle's head is just kind of weird. Pat pat. Nippa.
おお、麻雀だ。
どうしたの、ケイちゃん。
Keiichi found something on the tabletop games section. I walked toward him to see what it was. There I saw a green mat on the table with the Mahjong tiles all lined up on it. They were arranged in a square shape, as if someone was playing there until just a few minutes ago.
あれ？何これ、吉郎おじさん。勤務時間に麻雀なんかやってたの？
いやいや、違うよ。これはね。
I'd expected to see board games and card games in the toy store, but not Mahjong. I guess it isn't weird for a toy store to sell this, though.
すっごい久しぶりだよ。もうほとんどルールは忘れちゃったかな。
おお、レナくらいの女の子が麻雀を知ってるなんてすごいじゃないか。あ、ひょっとしてあれか？以前に部活の種目になったことがあるんだろ
う。去年の暮れでしたかしらね。もちろん私も大活躍でしたのよ。私の川にはトラップが潜んでいましたよ。
ミオ、お前な、裏若き女の子が4人も集まって学校で麻雀かよ。
ちょっとケイちゃん、麻雀をバカにしちゃダメだよ。ひなみ沢は豪雪地帯。村の冬の娯楽は麻雀一色になるんだから。こたつでぬくぬくみかんと麻雀。テレビからは紅白が流しっぱなし。風情があっていいね。
That's probably how the Sonozaki family spends its winter. That doesn't mean the whole village does that.
そういえばここいらは豪雪地帯なんだったな。なるほど。こたつで遊べる大人のゲームといったら麻雀はど定番だよな。
ケイちゃん、麻雀をバカにしちゃいけないよ。 麻雀こそは男社会の潤滑よ。四角いジャングルを囲む時、男たちは東なら清流、西なら白虎、南は朱雀、北は玄武。普段の上下関係やいさかいを全部捨てて対等な関係で戦い合うわけよ。その精神の尊さは古代オリンピックにも通じるものがあるってわけね。すごいでしょ。
俺はそれよりもこいつがいつ部活に登場して罰ゲームが何になるかの方が怖えぞ。
ケイチ君は麻雀わかるの？
親父が好きでな。お客さんが来た時メンツが足りないと無理やり入れられてたよ。強いかどうかはともかくルールはわかる。不計算はできないけどな。それはそうと、なんでこんなところに麻雀が出てるわけだ？
Everyone looked at the owner.
いやね、お昼に来たお客さんと話してたらツバメ返しができるっていうんで見せてもらったんだよ。
ツバメ返しだって？麻雀史上究極の荒技イカ様じゃないか。古代中国にて伝説の達人が編み出したという中国拳法究極の技。その威力は宝具と同じとまで言われ、あまりの恐ろしさに時の皇帝によって葬り去られたと聞いていたが、未だ使い手が実在したのか。
So when they say that, my two thoughts are it's Oishi or Akasaka, but I don't know why Akasaka would be here because he didn't come back to the village until way after, I believe.
ちなみにこれは親父の受け売りなので真相は保証しない。
ツバメ返しって宮本武蔵だっけ？麻雀とどういう関係なのかな？手牌と山牌を瞬時に入れ替えてしまう大技なのですよ、ミパー。
おいミオン、なんでお前はこういう痛いけな子にそういう悪い知識を吹き込むんだよ。
いやーいやー
はあ、見てみたいな。誰かやってみせてよ。リカちゃんはできるのかな？知ってるだけでできませんです。さとこが一時期練習してましたですよ。
ちょっと待てさとこ、お前その年でそんなのを練習するんじゃない。
戦う前からトラップは始まっているなんて雰囲気は確かにさとこの得意としそうな雰囲気だね。
相手が圧勝におごり油断した最後の勝負で仕掛けるのこそ最高のトラップタイミングなんですのよ。
で、さとこは結局マスターできたわけ？練習はしてたんでしょ？
実戦ではとても使えませんわね。練習でほんの何度かできたことがあるっきりですわ。へえ、見たい見たい。さとこちゃんやってみせてよ。みー、僕も見てみたいのです。仕方ありませんわね。失敗しても笑わないでくださいませよ。
Sadako sat in front of the table and started piling up the tiles.
さとこはそんなすごいことをできるのでしょうか？
さあ、どうかしらね。成功すればすごいし、失敗しても可愛いし、照れてるさとこが可愛いから、私は実は成功失敗はどうでもよかったりして。
まずはですわね、あらかじめ山の牌に欲しい牌を仕込んでおくことから始めますのよ。なるほどね。それと手牌を一気に入れ替えちゃおうというんだね。でもどうやって？手品なの？
だからね、手牌と仕込んだ牌を一気に入れ替えちゃうわけよ。ぜひ実際にアニメーションか何かでご覧に入れたいシーンなんだけどね。文章での中継なのでそのあたりは想像で保管してください。
ミーが誰に喋ってるのかわからないのです。
と言いつつカメラ目線なリカちゃんもな。
では行きますわよ。
Everyone gulped and looked closely at the table. See, I have no concept of Mahjong, so like I can't even picture it really. So this is all kind of flying over my head. Sadako moved her hands like a swan on a lake. She had 13 tiles in front of her. Then she silently flipped them all face down. Then she lifted them up by holding both ends and silently placed them against the back edge of the wall, keeping them hidden.
さあ、いよいよここからだよ、さとこ。
自信がありませんけど、行きますわよ。
We all went quiet. Sadako reached out towards the Yamahai. Then she grabbed the whole thing with her small little hands.
というわけで、ここで麻雀の詳しくない人にいかに山牌をつかむのが大変かを説明しよう。
Thank you, Mion.
自分の手牌は通常13牌だ。この程度の数なら両手でうまく押さえつけるように持てば宙に持ち上げることだってできる。不慣れだと失敗してぶちまけてしまうが、そう難しいことではない。だが山牌はそうはいかない。山牌は基本的に17牌ある。しかも2段積みなのだ。しかもここからが肝心。17牌 ×2 段を丸ごと動かせばいいわけではないのだ。上段は17牌全部を、下段は端の4牌のみを移動させなければならない。これを先ほど山の向こうに置いた手牌13牌にかぶせることで、手牌は山の中に埋もれ、さっき山牌を移す時に残した下段の13牌が自分の手牌として残るのだ。これこそ積み込み技の究極と言われるゆえん。全13牌を丸ごと全部入れ替えてしまう大技なのだ。
さとこ、しっかりなのですよ。
I could see Sadako trying to concentrate. She was supposed to be doing this more naturally since it's a technique for cheating. But since for the moment it was just performance, I suppose it's fine. Someone audibly swallowed, and at that exact moment she made her move. Crash. She had put too much strength into it. Her tiles fell apart.
やっぱり無理でございますわね。こんなのなかなかできるものじゃありませんわ。
でも要領は今のとミオンの解説で大体分かったぜ。ちょっと俺もやってみる。
レナも挑戦してみよう。今のうちに覚えておかないと後で大変そうだからね。僕も挑戦しますです。
All of us except Mion took a seat and started piling up the tiles.
一見するとルールを知らない子供たちが麻雀牌で遊んでるように見えるんだけどね。
その実態はツバメ返しの練習だってんだから。私の部員たちは実にたくましく育ってくれたもんだよ。
My hands and Sadako's hands are about the same size. If she can do it, I know I can too. Of course, I can't really use this trick during a real game. We were just playing around, but I was having a good time. I've never done this before in my 100 years of life. Yeah, for her anything different is
手が不器用に
fun.
なった気がしますわ。悔しいですわね。最初の13杯を持ち上げるのも難しい。はあ。
いいかレナ、両手の小指で挟み込むんだよ。そうそう、力を入れすぎると弾けるぞ。
かといって力が足りないとうまく持てないしね。その塩梅を得得する。
It's very difficult to lift up the first 13 tiles to begin with. Not everyone can get past this stage. Sadako was doing well the first time, but she lost her concentration and is dropping her tiles now. I took Keiichi's advice and supported the tiles with my pinky fingers and lifted it up. Oh, I did it!
最初の13個をうまく持てましたのです。
おお、やるじゃねえか。なんだよ、リカちゃんが一番リードしてるぞ。負けられね
リカも器用なのです。 続きもうまくできますのですか？
なかなか難しいわね。でも誰よりも最初に成功させたいっていう気持ちはある。だって今はそういう遊びなんだからね。続けていくわよ。
くそ、リカちゃんが一番乗りになっちまうのか。
次の入れ替えができればいきなり成功だね。次は牌がいっぱいあるから大変。頑張るなのですよ。リカ、正念場でしたよ。
I had to lift up the whole top row and only 4 tiles from the bottom row. I probably didn't need to use too much force. I can do this. Crash.
惜しいな。
やっぱり横に17牌もあるとそれだけで難易度は急激に高くなるね。
僕が一番に成功させますです。きっとできなかった人には罰ゲームがあるに違いないのです。
なんだってミオン、本当か？
どうしようかね。
There was only 4 seats, so Mion wasn't even in the game. Did that mean that she could set up a punishment with no risk to herself?
はお、みーちゃんはやってないのにずるい。ずるいという暇があったら練習あるのみでございますわよ。なんだか大変なことになってしまったのです。
I thought we came all the way to Okonomiya to get donations for the auction. Why were we doing this now? Although, that's why I love hanging out with these people. If it wasn't for them, I would have lost my soul a long time ago. I would have become a worthless piece of flesh. I've heard that rabbits can die from loneliness, but humans are no different. Humans can also die from boredom.
羽生、やっぱり今回の世界は何かが特別。もちろんそれは個々にはいずれもあり得ることばかりなんだけど、それらがみんないい方に流れている偶然が奇跡的。
そもそもリカの運命が今まで不幸続きだったのです。たまにはために貯めた幸運を放出してもらわないといけませんのです。
違いないわね。
If I have such a miserable and deadly fate, I do deserve some happiness that evens out the sadness. I felt like the luck I'd been getting in this life was something that I'd been saving up for 100 years. The people I love are all healthy and happy. I also asked Takano to reinforce my security. I don't know if she really will, but she promised me. She never did that in my previous lives. I think her reaction to my request was the best one so far. In fact, she was skipping on her way back home. She must have been in a good mood. I was sorry for breaking the family rules, but I think it was worth it. I told them that their lives were also in danger, but I doubt they really believed that. They didn't seem too frightened by it. I'd have to give them a final warning on the night of Watanagashi. If I try warning them too often, they'd never believe me.
なら、私はもうこの世界でできる努力はないということなのかしら。
わかりませんのです。その時が訪れてみるまで何もわかりませんのです。
I'm blessed with miraculously good fortune in this world. I gave it my best effort using all my previous experience. But did I do enough? I wish I could have my fortune told. I just wanted something to tell me that I did everything right. Please tell me what my fortune is. And as soon as I made the wish, God granted it to me.
ありゃ、なんですか、これは。
Oishi, like I said, with the Mahjong, I feel like he wasn't too far behind. I suddenly heard a low voice. Keiichi and Rena dropped their tiles as soon as they heard it, but doesn't it seem like every time Oishi shows up, like, bad things start to happen? Maybe he has something to do with it? I don't know. I want to believe in him
これは
too.
これは大石さんじゃありませんか。
But Mion seems a lot more positive towards Oishi in this timeline for some reason.
勤務中にこんなお店に入っていいんですか？
どうもどうもこんにちは。今日は非番ですからご安心を。
今日ってところね。
今日がどうかしましたか？
I guess Rika has the same realization that whenever Oishi shows up, it doesn't usually mean good things.
はて、
It looked like Oishi was ordering something from the owner. I wondered what this old guy wanted from a toy store of all places. Mio was wondering the same, and she asked him instead of me.
いえね、麻雀のマットを丸めてだいぶ長いことしまっていたせいですっかり反り返ってしまったんです。こたつの板裏もすっかり緑の布が剥げちゃってて使い物にならず困ってたんですよ。
ほう、雀荘じゃなくてご自宅で麻雀ですか。優雅な休日の過ごし方なことで、大方妙な語呂とトラブルでも起こして出禁でも食らったんじゃありません？
まさかまさかご冗談を。公木たるものは遊戯場でも紳士でなくてはいけません。そんなトラブルなんて起こしませんよ。それはさておき、皆さんも麻雀ですか？若い方は麻雀なんかできないと思っていましたよ。
我が部の精鋭を侮ってもらっちゃ困りますね。およそ勝敗のつくものなら種目は問わず、どんな登場であっても背中は向けないのだ。それがたとえ麻雀、パチンコ、競馬、競輪、競艇、果ては書道、聖火、ゲートボールまで何であろうと。
最後には足を踏み外すと下が溶岩や濃硫酸とかになってるところで戦わされそうなのです。
大丈夫だリカちゃん。その登場は仮に死んでも単行本が2、3冊も進むとひょっこり生き返れる。
圭一さんとリカが何の話をしてるのかさっぱりわかりませんわね。
Once again, the fourth wall breaking again. I'm like, and the whole talk before about the play and everything, I feel like they almost know that they're in some sort of story. Or at least certain characters
さ
do.
て、これはどういう場ですか？まだ山を積んでるところですかね？
いえ、違うんですよ。ツバメ返しの練習なんですよ。
ツバメ返しの練習ですか？いやはや、
この人なんだよ。さっきお昼に来てツバメ返しを見せてくれた人は。
実践じゃできませんがね。まあ芸の一つですよ。
大石さんでしたっけ？ぜひやってみせてくださいよ。俺ぜひともその技をマスターしたいんです。というかマスターしないと今年の冬の部活がヤバそうなんです。
ねいいですともお見せしますよ。あなたは間違えたらごめんなさい。前原。
すみません。はい、そうです。引っ越してきたばかりの前原圭一です。こんにちは。
あれ、ケイちゃんは初対面？こちらはね、警察の大石さん。綿流しの実行委員会にも警備の顧問として参加してるから、そのうち実行委員会の席で会えるよ。
そうそう聞いてますよ。なんでも相当元気のある方だそうじゃないですか。叩き売りオークションの司会はあなたしかいないと皆さんおっしゃるんで、どんな方かお会いできるのを楽しみにしていたんです。しかし司会とは責任重大だ。よく引き受けられましたね。実に勇気と度胸があります。
でも引き受けたからには頑張りますんでよろしくお願いします。前原圭一と申します。どうかよろしくお願いします。
おう、元気なだけでなく礼儀正しい若者ですね。若いのに感心です。私は沖宮署の大石と申します。なんならクラちゃんでも結構ですよ。
は大石は僕の席でやるといいのですよ。
お、これはすみません。ではちょっくら失礼させていただきます。
He rapidly gathered up the tiles. I could tell he'd been doing this for a long time.
柔道家は相手の帯の結び方を見るだけで段を知るって言うよな。まさにそんな感じっすね。
ね。はいを積むだけで褒められちゃうとなんだか照れちゃいますね。はい、では皆さんよろしいですか。参りますよ。それちゃっちゃっと。
Thud, swoosh, clack clack. All done.
はい、こんな感じですね。
We all broke out into cheers. You often hear the audience cheer for a big performance on TV, but it really was more impressive seeing it in person. He did it so quickly, too. He made it look so simple that anyone could do it, but everyone here knows it's very difficult to do. That was why we were all impressed about how easily he performed the trick.
はあ、すごい大石さんすごい。さすがですわね。
すげえです。マジで感動しました。俺に教えてください。もう一度スローで。
いいですよ。では私の真似をしてください。本当はスローの方が難しいんですがね。特に小指に注目しててくださいよ。まずこうですね。ここまではわかります？それからそこでこう。いえ違います。持ち上げなくていいんです。前へスッとせり出す感じです。でも押すのとは違う。ホバークラフトのようにほんのわずかだけ宙に浮かしてスッと。
ホバークラフトのような気持ちでほんのわずかだけ宙にスッと。あっくそ。
力は入れなくていいんです。実際は音をさせたらもう失敗なんですからね。無音で忍者のような気持ちでスッとやる。
忍者の気持ちでスッと。もう一回やります。見ててください。
It was strange. I had never seen Keiichi and Oishi play Mahjong together.
なんだか圭一くんと大石さんって仲良しになれそうな感じがするね。やっぱり男同士だと通じるものがあるのでございましょうね。
Oishi usually appears only after Takano and Tomotage get murdered on the night of Watanagashi. He's only ever appeared on the scene as a detective. He always approached Keiichi as a detective, so he never thought of him as someone he could trust. He'd only thought of Keiichi as a decoy to expose the culprits among the villagers, or some nonsense like that. So even when you see it, it's hard to believe that Keiichi and Oishi are having a good time together like friends.
圭一と大石が仲良しなんて僕も初めて見ますのです。
でしょうね。
It's funny, it's like Rika as a stand-in for us, because it's like we've seen it happen a bunch of times too, so it's like we're saying the same thing, like, oh, this is weird.
私だって初めてだもの。これをどう受け取ればいいのかしら。大石が現れた時、運試しは今日だって思ったのに。
I couldn't understand this world at all. My heart was pounding and I had the strong feeling that I'd roll a 6 every time I threw the die. I should roll it again. I think I'll roll a 6 again. I'll know it before I roll it. I will roll that 6. And I will finally defeat my deadly fate.
いらっしゃいませ。あ、
Akasaka! Oh my gosh! I was right! What?
大井さん、買ってきましたよ。
What? What are you doing here? My heart started racing. Oh, the voice sounded so familiar. I'd heard it before. But that couldn't be right. Hanyuu always warned me. Don't expect too much. It couldn't be him. Aww.
ああ、赤坂さん。
Oh, the one who was supposed to save her. He's here.
ご苦労様です。
Aww.
お店すぐにわかりましたか？
I love this music too. It just seems so hopeful and serene.
申し訳ありません。親切な郵便屋さんに声をかけてもらわなかったら、今頃どこまで行ってたやら。
And then maybe he'll be able to save his wife as well. Unless she died already. Crap, I can't remember. A young man was standing there. Oh my gosh, look at him! He was wearing a casual outfit and holding a plastic bag in his hand. I always thought Akasaka wore a shirt and tie. He also seemed much smaller. He looked at me as I stared at him. Normally, you look away when you make eye contact with a stranger. But we stared at each other without averting our gazes.
赤坂なのですか？
ということは、やっぱりリカちゃんだね。
知り合い？
赤坂さん、フルデさんと面識があったんですか？これは驚いた。
久しぶりだね。少し伸びたんじゃないかな。
赤坂こそなんだかたくましくなったようなのです。
This is Mamoru Akasaka. He's a detective from the Tokyo Metropolitan Public Safety Department. He sometimes shows up in Hinamizawa in 1978. So he doesn't always, though. He has no relation to Hinamizawa or my deadly curse, but outside the village, he's the person I trust the most. I've asked for his help in the past several times, but nothing ever came of it. He's from so far away. He forgets about me once he returns to Tokyo. That's why I'd given up on him.
赤坂はどうしてまたひなみ沢に？
子供を両親の家に預けてね。家内と二人で旅行に来たんだよ。
Okay, his wife is still alive. Yay! I couldn't remember when his wife died because he came here. What? Yeah, because he came here, like you said, in 1978. It's now 1983, 1984. You think I would remember the goddamn year by now, but oh, that makes me so happy that his wife is still. That makes me so happy. That makes me so happy.
君は家内の。わからないだろうね。
Oh, because she warned him about his wife and he listened to her.
赤坂さんはもう本当に素晴らしい愛
That
妻
actually
家さん
makes
で
me
して
so
ね。
happy.
5年前でしたっけね。沖宮にまではるばる出張に来られたのに、
Yes.
入院中の奥さんのことが急に寂しくなっちゃって仕事を放り出して東京にとんぼ返りした業のものなんですよ。いやいや、愛のなせる技です。
はう、奥さんとラブラブ、なんだかちょっぴり素敵かな。
あの時リカちゃんが東京に帰らないと良くないことが起こるって言ってくれたじゃないか。どうしても不安になってね。雪江の病院に戻ったんだ。そしたらその日に屋上への階段で清掃員の事故があったって言うんだ。
The tiles on the stairs were loose. The janitor fell down the stairs and got seriously injured. I knew that was going to happen because I'd seen him lose his mind after hearing about his wife's death and a life I lived a long time ago. Falling down the stairs seems like just the luck of the draw. I didn't think it would happen all the time, but it had happened to him over and over. So I thought there must be some kind of reason behind it. I guessed it was because of the broken tiles on the stairs. If he didn't show up at the hospital that day, his wife would have gone up those stairs. It was her daily routine, but she didn't go because he showed up. Meanwhile, the janitor went up the stairs and got injured.
だからリカちゃんは雪江の恩人なんだ。
私はそんなバカなって言ったんですけどね。赤坂さんは女房の恩人に間違いないって言って聞かないんです。今回もあなたにぜひ会いたいって強く要望していましてね。
確かにリカってたまに予言じみたことを言いますのよね。
さすがはお社様の生まれ変わりだね。
おっといけない。もうクマちゃんも佐藤さんも来てる時間ですね。赤坂さん、ちょっと急ぎ足で参りましょうか。では前原さん、この続きはまた今度にしましょう。その時は もっと実践で使える技をご教授しますよ。
I'm liking this timeline a lot, and I'm afraid something bad will still happen, because this is the most positive and hopeful I've felt in a long time. Just like Rika.
ええ、ぜひよろしくお願いします。
じゃあまたねリカちゃん。
赤坂はいつまでこっちにいるのですか？
綿流しのお祭りまでいるつもりだよ。
Oh, she'll be like, yay, I've got another protector to help me, and he'll definitely listen to her because he listened to her with his wife.
長すぎる夏休みだろ。有給消化率が悪すぎると庶務から怒られてね。山が一つ終わったんで室長から長期休暇を許されたんだ。お祭りにはきっと行くよ。聞くところによるとだいぶ盛大なお祭りになったんだそうだね。
そうなのですよ。赤坂の時のようなただの酒盛りではないのです。
Oh, Rika's probably like, oh my gosh, I'm not rolling just a 6, I'm rolling a 12 right now.
赤坂さん、行きましょう行きましょう。
君は雪絵の恩人だ。借りはきっと返すよ。きっと君の力になる。
Yes. I will be killed in June of Okay, so it is 1983. Why can't I remember 1983?
あれから5年。体も鍛えた。経験も積んだ。あの時のような無様な真似はきっと君の力になれる。
I felt like I rolled a 6 without even throwing the die. Akasaka followed Oishi and ran outside into the bright sunlight.
羽生、これも想定内の幸運なのよね。
今回はいろんな運命がリカに味方をしているとしか思えないのです。
思えばおもちゃ屋での部活の日、魚釣りゲームという運命を覆した瞬間から私の戦おうという意志の強まりが運命を揺るがしているということ。
My strong will is going to change my fate. If I have a strong will, I can also change these results. We rode our bikes back home together. I was in a good mood. I almost felt like humming a song. I could feel my deadly fate slowly falling to pieces. I felt like my fate was urging me to move on. Just like the sun and the moon during an eclipse, the wheels of my fortune were perfectly matched for the first time in a long time. This really might have been a miracle. This wasn't like the true miracle of Keiichi remembering the past. It was good fortune with expectations, or within expectations. But when it was arranged this well, it was enough to be considered a miracle. I couldn't remember the last time I felt so good in June of 1983. My name is Rika Furaday. My ominous fate was moving away from me. With each step I took, that deadly fate withdrew further and further. I'd have to stay strong and take advantage of this miracle. I moved forward at high speed. Watanagashi was so close. My luck and effort had brought about a miracle. And so, I will defeat my fate.
今度こそ、今度こそ。
ファイトオーなのですよ。
The next moment, something happened. Keiichi had accidentally scratched a motorcycle that was parked by the street. A group of 3 delinquents were trying to intimidate him.
大変なことになりましたのです。
見てなさい。今の私の力なら、あんな連中、
I'm afraid I'm afraid Rika's gonna get too cocky and she's gonna get herself into trouble. And it'd just be like kind of the irony of like now that she's feeling so confident that her fate will change, she's gonna put herself into danger without realizing it.
大丈夫ですよ、サトコ。僕にお任せなのです。リカ？
And now it's gonna be her standing in front of Keiichi, defending him unlike Shion and Mion. I walk towards the delinquent, even as they grab Keiichi by his collar. What the hell are these pathetic guys? Are they trying to stand in my way when I'm trying to have a happy future? I should teach them that nothing can stop me now. I know I'm rolling a 6 without even throwing the die. They continued to grab Keiichi's shirt. Keiichi, Mion, and Rena were staring at him with vicious looks in their eyes. I got in between them.
消え失せろ三下ども私の運命をその程度で邪魔立てできると夢にも思うな
I plucked his nose with my fingers again. He never expected that a little girl like me would attack him. He seemed surprised, but he quickly returned to being angry. Then he picks me up by my collar, too.
リカちゃんやめなさいよ離しなさいリカ何か策でもあるのですか
別にないわよでも今の私の強さならこの程度の運命にも勝てない運気なら今回も死の運命になど打ち勝てるものか
I rolled the die knowing what I was going to get. I knew that I'd be rolling a 6. The next moment, 2 men in working overalls came up to the 3 delinquents and tapped them on the shoulders.
兄ちゃん、相手は子供やんね。暗情堪忍してな。
なんだよてめえは。俺たちは喧嘩を売られたんだぞ。お前らなんざ用はねえよ。
Those working men weren't just random people who were passing by. I knew who they were.
まあまあまあ、そっちで話そう。
Oh, are those the whatchamacallits, the mountain dogs that Takano was talking about? One of the men pushed the 3 delinquents to the side of the street. The other man spoke to me in a calm voice.
大丈夫ですかリカさん。
ありがとうなのですよ助かりましたです
He lent me his hand so I could stand up.
皆さんはもう行ってください。あとは私たちが処理します。
どなたか知りませんがありがとうございます
本当にお任せしちゃっても大丈夫ですか
ええ、気にしないで。皆さんは早く行ってください。
本当にありがとうございます。
うちの圭一さんが無様で申し訳ありませんわね
じゃあ行こうみんな
We got back on our bikes in a hurry and left the scene. They had no idea who saved us, but were glad that all of us were safe. But I knew who they were. Those must have been the security guards who worked for Takano. Takano kept her promise. Those guys are professional bodyguards. They only do what they are ordered to, but they make sure their mission is complete. If Takano told them to protect me, that's the best protection I can get. What's with Takano and having all of these, I can understand Mion having these connections, but why does Takano know about these professional bodyguards and these bloodhounds and these mountain dogs or whatever they're called? It's like she's just a nurse. After we left the scene, a white van with 2 men in it followed us. Oh my gosh, so all the times with the vans and following people around, were those the bodyguards trying to protect? So like when Rena saw the van and saw these people, they were actually bodyguards, but she didn't realize it? Nightingale reporting. R is moving to the safe zone. We will continue escorting her. This is Heron, roger that. Everything was working in my favor for the first time ever. The petals seemed so light that day. I felt like I could fly into the sky if I wanted to. I'm just worried Rika's getting too confident and something bad's gonna happen because she just expects fate to save her, and it won't. I want to be hopeful, though, I do. For once, I want to be hopeful this will have a happy ending. Oh, we're getting back to Rina again.
これが航空券だ。遅れんなよ。後の金は現地だ。
ああ、気にお気に。おい、マミャン。
サンキュー私札幌って一度行ってみたかったのよね
北条の野郎にゃ気取られてねえだろうな。
大丈夫だよ。あいつバカだもん。でかいのは声と態度だけ。
そうなのかよ。
The next moment, they heard several cars coming towards them. The man looked out the window and saw 3 black cars screeching to a halt by the apartment building. Several intimidating men emerged from those cars. Some of them even looked up toward the window. He quickly hid himself behind the curtain.
ちくしょう、嗅ぎつけやがった。
ちょっと、嘘マジ？なんで今日バレるのよ。
Oh, I want to believe something's gonna happen to her. I want her to get her just desserts too.
マミはボケっとすな。捕まったら殺されんぞ。
They heard the men running up the stairs. They sounded angry. Oh, okay. Well, that was quick. I hope we're gonna get back into this because I'm curious what that's about. Alright guys, so that will do it for this episode. A lot of interesting things. I can't believe Akasaka's back. It's so good to see him again with his wife alive. That makes me so very, very happy. And it makes me happy to think that Rika might actually have a chance this time. But once again, whenever it seems too positive, I can't help but be a little wary that, you know, it's going to pull the rug out from under us and something bad's going to happen anyway. But it seems like Watanagashi's coming up soon, so maybe the next episode will be the Watanagashi Festival. And we'll just have to see what happens and if Rika can survive fate this time. So thank you guys once again for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye.